Today marks 10 years since the horror in Newtown, Connecticut, when 20 students and 6 adults were gunned down at Sandy Hook Elementary School.
A decade since that day feels like a lifetime to some, and to others, it was like it was just yesterday. Today, flags across Connecticut were lowered to half-staff in remembrance of the victims. We saw this flag in downtown Sandy Hook.
And tonight, we remember those 26 people killed, their families, and the town that was forever changed. CBS 2's Tony Aiello here now with their stories. Tony.
Regarded as the worst day in Connecticut history, a disturbed young man killed his mother at her home before going to his former elementary school, where he shot and killed 20 first-grade students and 6 educators. I was part of the CBS 2 team that rushed to Newtown that day. We found a community in shock and disbelief. It happened on a Friday, 11 days before Christmas. There were presents under trees for little ones who wouldn't be there to open them. Josephine Gay, known as Joey, had turned 7 3 days earlier. Her family had everything set for her birthday party on Saturday.
I didn't think that I would survive. I literally remember feeling like this grief was going to swallow me whole. You know, I just didn't, I couldn't even comprehend how we would begin to breathe again.
Joey's mom, Michelle Gay, says 10 years feels like a significant milepost on a journey that will fill the rest of her days.
I feel a little bit stronger, a little bit better at sort of carrying our cross and managing, you know, our feelings. I think we have learned as a family that it's very much a journey.
Joey's name is one of 26 on the Newtown Permanent Memorial, open to the public in time to mark 10 years.
The water perpetually moving, that sort of never-ending circle, that circle of life.
The memorial is within sight of the rebuilt Sandy Hook School and just down the road from the firehouse, where families gathered in the heart-wrenching hours after the gunfire.
You dropped your 7-year-old off that morning and kissed him goodbye, put him on the bus, and thinking like every other day they were going to come home, you know, and it wasn't meant to be that day.
Monsignor Bob Weiss was a spiritual first responder that day. St. Rose of Lima Church, a place for a grieving community to gather. Hours after the tragedy, Monsignor received a message from then Pope Benedict, which he shared with the community Friday night.
I convey my heartfelt grief and the assurance of my personal prayers to the victims and their families.
Over the next week, Weiss presided at funerals for 8 of the 20 murdered children.
Many of the caskets came down with basketballs and with American Girl dolls and, you know, just the things that spoke to that child. At almost every one of these funerals, the mothers delivered the eulogies. And that in itself was just powerful as they came up to this pulpit. And came up to this pulpit and just stood there and talked about the beauty of their child. It was powerful. It was powerful.
It's just a horrific situation for everyone, for a state, for a nation, but most particularly for a mom and a dad and a husband.
Then Governor Dannel Malloy remembers the confusion of that Friday and 26 families hoping their loved one had somehow escaped. Perhaps they were hiding injured in the woods nearby. At the firehouse, Malloy was told it would take into the weekend to positively ID victims and formally notify families. He decided to end the agony by announcing there was no hope of survivors.
Because protocols didn't allow the police to do it, I decided to make that announcement, and I hope I did the right thing.
Evil visited this community today.
10 years later, the pain of that evil is permanent, but not triumphant.
We found ways to not only stand, but, you know, stand up.
22 different initiatives to honor the victims have touched millions of lives and made a difference in the world. Michelle Gay co-founded the Safe and Sound Schools program with Sandy Hook mom Alyssa Parker.
There's been a lot of healing in picking something so very unifying and positive as, you know, keeping our kids safe.
We chose to live in the light rather than the darkness, and to see beyond the darkness, to know there was going to be light. They're not allowing the world to forget their child.
Monsignor Weiss will lead a memorial mass tonight, one of the only public events in Newtown on this day each year. He told me the grief is profound, but there is enormous pride at how many lives have been touched by the various initiatives that honor the victims, everything from mental health to music lessons to college scholarships. Good works that are a living legacy.
Go ahead, Maurice.
No, I was just going to say the strength those families show. It is just otherworldly.
It is remarkable. It really is remarkable.
Well, as Josephine's mom said she didn't know how she was going to survive. And here she is, you know, taking her daughter's memory and doing good with it out of this absolutely heartbreaking tragedy. I remember showing up there that day with you, Maurice, and there was a stillness in the air that you can't describe. You had to be there to feel it.
It was that sense of disbelief that in this wonderful community that really is in a large way centered around St. Rose of Lima Church, that such evil could touch that community. People were in disbelief, but you know, they always said, it's going to affect us, it will not define us. And I think we can say 10 years later, it did not define them.
It certainly didn't.
The pictures take us right back there. Thank you, Tony.